Evening, everybody. Good to have you here at Life Group tonight. The last few weeks we've been talking about being connected to God, and last week we talked about finding out who God is. So tonight we're going to talk about how do we make ourselves open so that we are known by the Lord, not just that we know Him, but that He knows us. So Brittany, what key things do you think are important for being known by Christ?
I think being open and honest, often we can hide things away from Christ, but actually that's just a lie. All we're doing is hiding from ourselves, because He can see all things, and actually He's here to help us to be, a guide, a comfort, a support, lead us through stormy waters. He is there to be a part of us and actually to grow us closer to Him. So when we try and lock off our heart or do things in the dark, really all we're doing is lying to ourselves. And so I think, yes, God is a just God, but He is also a loving God, and so why not be open and honest to Him? In Matthew 6, it says in verse 33, "Seek first His kingdom, His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough troubles of its own." So, this is one of the key scriptures for us, and to be seeking Him first, His kingdom first, His principles first, Him first in our life, and that is being open and honest with how our day's going, how our world is running, how our children are being, the struggles and the hurdles that we have, the things, our battles, the battles of our mind, the battles of our relationships. He wants to know our innermost thoughts and beings.
Do you think maybe some of the reason that we hold back is because we're afraid of how the Lord will respond to us, or that that we'll disappoint Him or be judged by Him? Do you think that's a reason maybe we hold back from?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's true, that we can be like, we don't want to let God down, or what's going to happen next. But actually He is like a parent in some aspects, but He's also almighty and all powerful, and I think like I said before, that it only puts walls up instead of Him being a helper and a guide in our situation. I often think how much harder life is if we leave Him out of it, and how much harder, sometimes I think, when we're going through tough times, if I didn't have God, like, how would I cope? And I think that about the people that don't yet know Jesus, like, man, how would they cope? So why would we try and do it on our own? And sometimes it can be the issue of pride, and I know the other week that you talked about pride being one of the greatest sins, that actually our pride, I can do this, I can do it, or I don't need God in this. What would you say would be one of the things that stop you drawing close to God?
Yeah, I think we can really fear that we've really disappointed God and how He will respond to us. But I actually think that comes back to what we talked about last week. When we don't understand who God is, then we often will hold back from Him because we don't understand His grace and His passion and His love for us. I mean, God's love for us is incredible. It really is incredible. And the more we know how much He loves us, the easier it is for us to be open with Him, because He's not there with a big stick gonna whack us when we do things wrong or when we don't live up to what we think is His expectations of us. He's actually there to go, hey, I love you and I want the best for you and I want to lift you up and I want to move you on. But I also think the thing that we often misunderstand is that God only will do what we let Him do in our life.
That's good.
And when we hold Him out from different things, and it could be, hey, look, we're struggling with something at work, or we're struggling with a relationship at home, and we go, that's my problem to deal with, all this kind of stuff. And we don't actually invite Jesus into that situation. And so therefore he will not actually operate in it if we don't invite him in. We actually are the ones who give him permission to help us in our life. And I mean, one of the things, when I was younger, I used to think, I've got to be really, well, I do think you've got to be really honouring to God. But there are times when I get frustrated with the situation I'm in, and I get frustrated why things haven't happened. And I'm kind of like, God, why have you let this happen? Or why, and kind of like feeling almost like God's to blame. I don't really feel that way, but thinking kind of that. And actually, I think it's really good to express that in prayer and say, God, I'm feeling like this. I don't understand, because then it gives him permission to actually answer that question in our heart. If we just hold on to it and don't let him in, we don't give him an opportunity to answer. You can see that in the book of Job. Actually, Job has all these things happen to him, and he asks God, why? And God actually gives God a permission for him to answer Job with wisdom and with the truth.
I also think that when we think, God's done this to us, then we will not communicate with him, or we'll think, this is just how it is. God must have made this happen like that. But actually it can be out of our own understanding. That's not, there's a bigger picture to this, and God hasn't done it. Often we give him, like I said last week too, about blaming him, but we can also leave him out thinking, this must be the way God wants it. But have we seeked him first, seeked his kingdom, seeked his response, seeked him for faith? Have we seeked him in relationship of how to deal with this and to draw close and let him in to situations?
Yeah, I mean, the important thing is that our walk with the Lord is a two-way relationship. Like we said last week, we need to know who he is. And we might think, well, he knows who I am because he's God. Yeah, he does, but he actually only has relationship with us because we give him permission to have relationship with us. So we have to be the ones who say, Lord, I want you involved with this. I want you involved with this decision. I want you involved with this heartache I've got right now. I want you involved with this fear that I have right now. I want you involved with this joy that I have right now. I want you involved. I want you involved. I want to open my life up to you.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, have a blessed week, church. We will see you next week. Encourage someone else in their walk with Christ.